We are live, Jobber
All
Nation.
right, we are live.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is the Jobber Tears Podcast. As always, I'm Janelle from HR here with Sir Wilkins and Mr. Black and our very special guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you guys. I let everyone do it. I always psych them out like I'm going to introduce them, but I don't. I let the person introduce themselves because you do it better than I can. So, without further ado,
yeah, so I'm your Pan-African World Diaspora Champion, Trish Adora. Hello.
Hello. How are you? How you been handling virus season and all that jazz?
I've been doing okay. Just having a busy couple days is all. Just trying to rein it all in. Everything's somewhat starting up, but just trying to inch back into normalcy. So just trying to get myself together.
Great. So why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, how long you've been wrestling, just the basic stuff, just so that if they don't know you, now they know you.
Yeah, so I'm from Washington, D.C. That's where I'm currently local to right now.
We're in the D.C. area.
Southeast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have a really good friend of mine. She's from Southeast.
Yes. Okay.
So,
I'm sure she's dope.
Oh, no, she is. She's super dope.
So yeah, I was born and raised here. I started training in 2016. I packed up and moved to Florida. I trained at Team 3D for about 2.5 years. Then I moved back to DC and I started training at Ring of Honor. So just trying to cut my teeth back home, trying to just sort of transcend that way. So,
gotcha. And who are some of the people you've wrestled like within the last 4 years that you're like, this is notable. This is something that must watch. Like, what's the must watch match of yours?
Yeah, honestly, the triple threat between me, Darius Lockhart, and Mr. Grimm. I love that match. That's one of the highlights.
Hard hitters.
Yeah, it's where I won my beautiful title. So,
okay.
Yes, I think that is a notable match of mine. It's a very favorite match of mine. I think that working in front of my hometown crowd was just so special to me. And just knowing that, okay, I can cut it there. I can cut it anywhere. It just really felt like the cherry on top. So that's a very notable match for me. And actually, I'll have the link to that match in my Instagram bio. So
awesome. So you guys heard it first. Yeah. It'll be in her link in her bio. You have a lot of admirers. Okay. Trust me. We announced we were interviewing you. I've got hit up nonstop, like, oh my God, I love her. This is so great. And I'm like, well, yeah, she's awesome. But we're thankful that you're able to join with us today. So I'm gonna let the gentleman, if you have a question, I'll let you guys start off.
I'll start off. So you mentioned that you grew up in the whole DC area, right? Yeah. So what was some of the influence that you have other than wrestling growing up that contribute to the character you have right now?
Yeah, so honestly, it's more or less the environment I was raised in. I would go to protests when I was younger. We went to the Million Man March, Million Woman March. So that was just very threaded in the DC experience. It was just kind of what we all did. We all just hang out and be like, hey, do you want to drive up to Philly for the march? And, you just do that. And just having that threaded into your upbringing and who you are as a person, you kind of just, you can't really let that go. So I hope that, shows through in everything that I do. But that's definitely a huge part of growing up, that camaraderie and things like that.
So where was the feedback?
Yeah.
So what was the moment that you realized that, I want to take wrestling to the next level? This is something I see myself doing for the rest of my life.
Well, I planted the seed for wrestling super early. When I was younger, a lot of my experience was just seeing the WCW smoky ring and just hearing the sound of the ring and seeing, Nitro girls and, cruiserweights and things like that. So those are some of my first introductions to wrestling. And it wasn't really until, I watched a lot of the female competitors and, seeing Jacqueline and Jazz.
Oh, man.
That's
Jazz.
It flipped the switch. I was like, oh, okay. So I can do that. Cool. Awesome. So that's kind of where I got those first seeds planted. It wasn't really until I was well into my adulthood that I really decided, okay, we're doing this. I just got back from a deployment, actually, with Johnny Cross, who is the creator of the Pan-African World Diaspora title, also Fight Club in DC. So we deployed together in 2012. And once I got home, I just kind of made that decision. You slowly make those decisions that it was going to be time for me to do something that I wanted to do. 100% that I wanted to do. Nobody told me I was supposed to, nothing like that. So wrestling feels like it's 100% for me. It's that thing that I love to do, that I chose for myself, so.
So you mentioned that you was deployed. 2 questions. What branch of the military were you in, and what made you join the service?
Well, the only branch, the Army. No, just no beef, no really. But I was in the Army for 8 years, and the reason I joined when I was 19. Funny story about that. I signed my papers, and then I told my mom, just because I knew she wasn't gonna be rocking with it, and it was gonna be a hard sell. And I knew I just wanted to, try it out. So, are they commenting here?
Yeah, I just saw that too. I was like,
okay.
wait, what's going on here? This is actually, you're the first person we interviewed using this whole StreamYard experience thing that we got going on here.
Okay.
So,
I didn't mean to break.
Oh no, I'm glad you did it, because I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Oh, see, you're amazing. See, there you go. Look.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I have a question. So you mentioned getting introduced during the WCW days, Nitro Girls, Cruiserweight. Like, what are some of your inspirational wrestlers of all time?
Ooh,
great question.
All time. See, well, the net is cast open a little wider because now I'm exposed to a few more things, but definitely growing up, Jacqueline and Jazz, all of the women competitors, right? Because I grew up with 5 brothers, and so I was the only girl, so I've just always kind of been the woman holding her own in life. That's kind of been threaded in my experience. So to see women do that on screen and to see someone that look like me, I'm like, what? So those are some of my initials. Let's see, Rob Van Dam, of course. I thought his moveset was super awesome growing up, at ECW, trying to sneak at 3 a.m. to watch it,
That's exactly how it was for me. That's how I got introduced to wrestling. 3 o'clock in the morning ECW days.
Right, just trying to figure out what channel is it, figuring out. But the Dudley Boys as well. Those obviously were pretty huge growing up. I really did like the larger than life characters too. I always thought that was kind of interesting, and how you'd see Randy Savage and everybody, just how you would just be running to the ring and you're shaking the ropes, and I'm like, what is ultimately what you're doing? You just kind of get sucked into that, and you just, as a kid, you just see that and you just get so sucked in.
So you mentioned you trained down at Team 3D's Academy. So what made you specifically choose their school? And what was the biggest lesson you learned coming out of the Academy?
Great question, Janelle.
Yeah, so a funny question. I actually wasn't going to initially go to Team 3D Academy. I had another school in mind, and I was pretty set on that. I had packed my bags. I had just finished signing off from the Army, and I was like, all right, y'all, see you later. Hopped in my car and drove all my belongings to Florida. I didn't really have a plan set, but I knew I wanted to go to that specific wrestling school. So when I finally got up to the front door, they're like, hey, this is how much. And I'm like, well, that number's different than before. And all of a sudden I couldn't afford it. It became like, oh yeah, well, you need 2,000 down. And it was like, oh, because I came down here with 2,000. And as you know, once you move out, on 2,000 will disappear in
a heartbeat.
That's just gone. So, but so at that point I was like, oh shoot, I messed up. Now I got all the way down here, and I didn't have a school to go to, and at the time I didn't have a job. So I was like, uh-oh. So I started applying around. I got a job at Vans, super random. I got a job at Vans. And so it was around holiday season. So they're doing this thing that I wish everyone would stop. Okay. They do this thing where everybody's like, all right, stand up and say one thing about yourself. And, that the whole, get to know each other spiel. And that always, I don't know, I'm anxious by nature. So naturally my throat just closes at the idea of just standing up and everybody's staring at me and whatnot. So meanwhile, I'm just in my head freaking out, thinking about what I'm going to say. And I'll be like, do I tell them that I like to knit or, whatever, just trying to figure it out. And so a homegirl stands up and she's like, hey, I'm a wrestler, I train out in the area. And I'm looking and I'm like, what? what are my odds, So definitely after we did that whole spiel, I made a beeline. I'm like, hey girl, what's up? Where are you training? And she's like, I'm training at Team 3D. And I'm just like, You trying to tell me the Deli Boys have a wrestling school? That's funny. How did I get all the way down here and not know that? She's like, yeah, girl. And she gave me all the information, you know.
Wow.
I ended up scheduling a visit like in the next 2 weeks or so. And the rest is history. But such a funny story that almost kind of didn't happen, that whole trajectory. So that's how I chose Team 3 Academy. And we never looked back. I'm really thankful for that, honestly. I'm truly thankful for that.
So what was the biggest lesson you learned out of the academy?
Yes. So the biggest lesson that I learned outside of the academy is that it matters a lot what you're doing in the ring and things like that, but it also matters a lot how you conduct yourself. There's that other half of the business that you kind of don't know until it's kind of too late, until you made a mistake and, you know, you got to hear about it from 3 people over that, you know, somebody, you know, none of that, you know. So they always made a point to show me how to conduct myself backstage, you know, how to treat people with respect, how to reach out to certain people, just things that you won't really know, which is really important. A lot of times schools focus on the in-ring stuff, and then one day you just got to go have a match. And I'm just like, oh, shoot, you know. Focus on the in-ring. You know, to know there's a little process. It definitely made things easier. The transition was easier, you know, and then your reputation will start to speak for itself, thankfully.
So, how did the experience in the Army help you with your wrestling career?
Yeah, so honestly, growing up, I was like kind of a loner by nature. I always just would rather do my own thing and would just rather not have to, if I didn't have to depend on anybody, if I didn't have to ask anybody, then I mean, we could just call that a good day, you know what I mean? But that changes all of a sudden. You know, when you're in the Army, there's no more one-man show. You know, the idea of you just doing something by yourself and operating completely independent because you want to do it is done. So, you know, so it was very difficult for me to learn how to like lean on people and depend on people and trust people to have my back. And, you know, just things like that. And those are some of the same things in wrestling too. You know, when you first started wrestling, there's a lot of trust that goes involved into this, you know what I'm saying? And one false move, you know, someone gets hurt, you know, tragic can happen. So it's just important that you're able to trust yourself and what you can do and that you were trained and that you can trust somebody else. So those are huge lessons for me. And the Army really hammered that into your head.
That's good. All right, so I have a question. If you could give advice, wait, hold on.
Question.
Oh, go ahead then. All right.
No. I guess there's a lag on my side. That's probably what it is. My bad.
Oh, okay.
You guys hear me?
We were all like, we can, but we were all like, because I was like, well, I gotta, and you were like, I gotta. We were like, oh.
Yeah, we looking like, go ahead, and we just like, go ahead.
No, so what I'm saying is that is with your transition from the Army to wrestling. One of the biggest things I've seen a lot of people have an issue with, especially when they come from a place where you have to be stiff and then you got to loosen up in the ring to be safe. How was that transition for you? Because you're in the Army, you have to work out a certain type of way.
Yeah, so it's a relatively easy transition. It's a mental transition, honestly, because going into any situation, you know, if you're about to do anything out in the field, you're always in your head like, okay, this can end very badly. So you're always just ready to protect yourself, and the armor is just kind of there. In wrestling, it kind of has to be different. You kind of have to remove that armor. You kind of have to accept that, like, nobody's here to hurt you, you know, in that sense, you know. So once you can mentally take that away, it becomes a little easier not to just, you know, clock people in the head. So, you know, growing pains, but.
His delay is amazing.
Yo, it's mad. Everybody's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. He's like, that's awesome. I mean, that is awesome. Like, just like to pick back what my brother is saying, though, you know, that's awesome. Like, Dang, what was my question? That was my statement. Listen, I forgot. Like, that just kind of threw me off. Janelle, take over. You good at this? What's your question that you wanted to ask?
As you see, I'm the glue that holds everything together here. See?
Yes, she is.
So basically, my question is, as a woman of color, what are some of the obstacles you've overcome in the wrestling industry? Because, you know, it's not easy, you know, once again, being of color, but it's definitely not easy being in the men's club. And you're not a man. So how have you overcome those obstacles in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's a daily thing trying to overcome the obstacles, honestly, because it's like before you get into the wrestling business, you have an idea of what life is like for you, you know, as a Black woman, just kind of moseying about, you understand what life is like for you. And so as you begin to insert yourself into a whole nother world, you're just fingers crossed, like hoping like, okay, have we created an ecosystem that's, you know, going to be sustainable for how I would like to be 100% comfortable. Everyone else can be, you know, comfortable as they want, but, you know, you add color to it, you know, you add gender to it, and you all of a sudden start to like shrink yourself. And so it's just always important to me that the same way I never shrunk myself outside of the business, I won't shrink myself outside of the business, you know, while I'm inside. So is that lag? Sorry.
Oh no, you good, girl. Don't worry about
it.
Okay. You good.
So, yeah, it's just so now that I'm in the business, I'm just kind of getting a little nervous sometimes, wondering like, all right, how many people am I gonna have to correct? Is there some prejudice that already exists that means I can't get this opportunity no matter what, you know? If I am the best, do I still get the opportunity, you know? And it's just having those questions just ringing off and just trying to just shake it off. Because, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of times it's like nobody cares, you know, in that way. It's like you have to produce, you have to be on, and you can save your tears for the shower. You know what I mean? So just trying to keep producing and keep staying on and still, you know, back people off me if I need to, you know.
So if you
go ahead.
Are you sure y'all need? No.
Go ahead.
So if you could tell, like, if there was a little girl front row, your next match, you defending your title, what is one thing you would tell her in person?
I would tell her, stand up tall always. Never, ever shrink. When you shrink, you start to like lose yourself. And it's almost like when you start to lose yourself, they win, you know, the outside world. So it's up to us to keep standing tall and to just weather that storm. I would tell her to keep her head up always, you know. I would tell her to put herself first every time. That's absolutely what I would say.
So to piggyback on what you're saying, you know, due to we all know wrestling is OD racist, you know, let's not even sugarcoat this. We're among family right now. My question is this: what are some things that you might, let's say that you started a wrestling company, you know, brand new company is called Black Girl Magic Wrestling Company. I should market that. I should definitely trademark that.
Wow. Now he done trademarked himself.
So Black Girl Wrestling Company, and what systems will you put in place to make sure that every person, regardless of skin complexion, Black or white, to make sure they get a fair shot in your company?
Yeah, so it's representation matters so much. So at each level, it's important to, you know, just have just somewhat of a liaison, right? So it starts at training. It's about having, you know, trainers of color, female trainers, you know what I mean? It's about, you know, at the shows, having females in positions of power. A lot of, you know, a few opportunities that I've had have been because there was a female in power that reached out and was like, hey, I want to look out for you. And who knows what have happened had that not, you know, maybe it would have happened another way, maybe not. But all I know is that a woman reached out and a woman made that happen. And it's important to her that I succeed the same way it's important to me that other women succeed, other Black women succeed, other, you know, people in the LGBT community succeed. That's important to me. And so if you put people in those places that feel that way, it'll show through and through. The culture of what you produce is going to be so rich. You know what I mean? And it's exactly why representation matters. So.
So where did the idea of your title come from? Like, you know,
just about to ask that.
We've heard so much here and there, but now that we got the woman in gold with us, you can just straight up tell us, where did the history come from? How did it start? Where did the foundation come into fruition? Because now you are the first ever. So what is some of the history you can tell our viewers about the title that doesn't know about it?
Yeah, so it started off as honestly a conversation. Like in 2010, 2011, me and Johnny were in the same unit for a certain number of years. We met like in 2009. And it all started off as a conversation. You know, how we met is that SmackDown was in town and they had tickets, and they were like, hey, we got some extra tickets, so if anybody, you know, wants to show up, you get to sit front row, you know, just be chill, you know, all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So me and him were like one of the only two people to raise our hand. I was like, oh, you like wrestling? And he's like, yeah, I like wrestling. And that's kind of how it all started. So we're like, oh, bet. And so throughout the show, we're just talking about wrestling, all the things that we like. And I'm just kind of going, I would love to be a wrestler. You know, I think it'd be so great. And just having all these just fantastic dreams of all these things. And Johnny's like, yeah, but like, if you just have like a promotion, and he just was very promotion minded and very like village minded. He's always been like that.
Village minded. I like that.
Yeah, he's very, very village minded. So the idea was him saying, what if there was something for us? What if, because we do feel slighted in the white male big industry, you know, the big bad wrestling industry, we do feel slighted. So there's got to be a place that we can go. There has to be a place that's safe for us, that's chill for us, where we don't have to tone down, or we don't have to pipe up if we didn't want to. You know what I mean? We're in charge of how we're depicted. We can do it our way. We're always surrounded by people that we respect. And that is what you grow from. And I was just like, yeah, you know, it just completely blew my mind to hear him talk like that. And, you know, it sounds like ideas, you know, and then one day there's a sketch and I'm like, yo, you're actually getting this? He's like, yeah, we contacted Belts by Dan. We want this design by Lateef Reed. He's the gentleman who made our first logos and things when we first started. So he gave us a chance. So we were like, okay, bet. He went through and sort of designed all the plates, if I could.
Yes. Bring it closer. Bring it to the people. That beautiful belt. For us, by us.
Absolutely. So
look at those straps.
So pretty.
Ooh, look at that side plate.
Oh, these side plates are so beautiful.
Oh, man.
Designed every single one of them.
Oh, man. Look at that fit. Oh, my gosh. Dang.
He is so funny.
He's so extra. We love him the same. He extra.
Dang. Look at that center. Mother Africa with the diamond, man.
So pretty.
Dang.
And the side plates on this side, it's awfully heavy as well.
I was just about to ask you, like, it's heavy. I was legit about to ask you.
Look how beautiful that title is, y'all.
So pretty.
Dang, man.
But yes, Johnny had a vision, very, very village minded. And he actually, you know, he has like sort of the wherewithal and the means to kind of get stuff done. With him, it was talking and then action. So to hear it and be like, okay, this is just something we're saying amongst friends, and then to start seeing sketches, and then start getting Lateef involved, and then to start getting Belts by Dan involved, and then we got a prototype, and then, you know, it's crazy to see this. It's crazy, and to be able to hold this in my hand, it's like, it's crazy.
It can be crazy.
What is your goal with the title?
Great question.
Yes, great question. So the goal with this title is to make sure that I'm highlighting those same people that feel slighted, those same people that feel like, you know, journeymen, and they may not have like a home promotion. I consider Fight Club my home promotion. I consider this my home promotion title, you know, and if anybody, you know, Black wrestlers of color, you know, LGBT community is, you know, if they're willing to say like, hey, this is something that I want, then it can be done. That's what I want. I want people that may not, you know, get a chance, or feel that they may not get a chance. If they feel overlooked, if they feel like they had to like dial it up or be a certain character or a caricature, to fit a certain build, if they had to, tone it down when they'd rather not because they're too loud. That doesn't exist here. And you can produce your art the way you want to, and we can exist together is what I plan to do. I want to challenge every single wrestler of color. I already have a relatively long list going, so.
Who's on the list, girl? Can we get a little sneak, like a little?
Please. I hope that my boy Yaya's on there. Montana Black. Savannah Evans. Job it to yourself, man.
Hey, Yaya's my dude. I love Yaya.
We do too.
I love Savannah. She is absolutely awesome. I would love to wrestle her again. I would absolutely love that. So we definitely got to get that going. Mercedes Blaze is out in the UK. I did a tour out in the UK, a short one last year, and to see another wrestler of color, just in another environment, thriving too, having the same, kind of issues with not getting enough, recognition or things like that, or feeling slighted, so to speak. So she looked out. We worked together in the UK. That's another link that I will post to my IG. We work together in the UK, and I think she's brilliant. So I would love to bring this title over there. Big Wavy, I see you. We got Mercedes Blaze. Definitely, I wrote down Yaya. I'm writing that down in big, big, big letters. Of course, Darius Carter.
Okay.
Lynn is a homegirl. I love her. Jake St. Patrick as well. That's somebody I'm wanting to tie it up with. Of course, Faye Jackson. I mean, hello. I think that's going to be a good time. And, another thing, too, I was supposed to, as it stands, I believe I can say it now, I was going to have something going with jazz in the future. But, of course, Corona and, different.
Oh, girl.
Ebony Queen Jazz?
Don't even get us started about how Corona alternated everything, the universe.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. It makes me
Thanos does.
Yeah.
That would have been dope. She's very high on my list. I respect her. And if she wants another Trish to beat up, I got her,
I got a question, not to make it on a very are you up to date with the WWE product or anything like that?
Somewhat, I think that my approach to watching certain companies is a little bit different than other people. So I'm plugged in for the most part, but I largely miss things. I log into Twitter and kind of.
Okay, cool. So obviously you're familiar when Big E was on Talking Smack and The Miz was interviewing him. Are you familiar with that interview?
Yes, but you can run it back if you want.
Basically, one of the things I want to ask you is The Miz told them that you're not serious enough. You're not serious. You need to be more serious. And Big E said, yo, when I was serious, I didn't get where I was being not myself. And now I am myself. Now I'm getting recognition. But now everyone's telling me from the Booker T, The Miz, that I need to be more serious. So what is your... Basically, I want to ask you, what is your ideology when a wrestler don't have to be of a white person or a black person, just in general, tells another black person, yo, you need to be serious, and kind of want to get him out of his character? What would you tell that wrestler if he came to you and says, hey, people telling me be more serious, but I'm comfortable with the character I am right now?
I think above all that it's most important to work your art the way you want to, When I first started working on the independents, I was pretty, mean and aggressive. I thumped around and I was just overly aggravated. And that was just extremely stereotypical of me. But it's something that, somebody gently handed to me and said, hey, it would be really great if you were just this monster heel that yelled and screamed and made, war faces and all these things. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah, but even talking to you now, that's not you. That's so.
Yeah. She's mad gentle, She's mad gentle. Right. La 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 la. She might have a nice church lady.
Right, exactly. But they gently hand that to you, and you're kind of like, okay. And then you do it a little bit, and it doesn't feel good. And so then it's funny too, because as being a black woman, if I start to do something that I don't already want to do, and then I also feel as though I'm slighted, I'm starting to not be able to tell if whether it's because I'm doing something I don't want to do, you know, or something I don't fully believe in, or whether or not it's actually because something is maybe technically incorrect, maybe, you know, to keep up training or things like that, you know? So I think when you add that, it becomes a little more complicated. Like, well, dang, are they dissing me because somebody told me I'm supposed to be mad and now I'm mad and now everybody's saying like, oh, you know, things like that. So I think that if, as long as you're working your art the way you want to, you know, it's like once I sort of like, you know, started to portray myself in the way that I like to be viewed in the ring as well, because we all have control over that. We're all independent and we can all make that choice for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So once I made that choice for myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going back. I'm never, ever going to be like, oh, I'm supposed to be this way. I'm supposed to be. No, what I'm supposed to do is my art the way I'm supposed to do it. So long as everything's technically sound, so long as I'm maintaining, you know, being respectful and everything like that, nothing else should be the matter. So long as I'm putting up the numbers, what else are we talking about? You know, like, I'm not really, I never really dug that, how they were always trying to be like, oh, be more serious when you're laughing. And then when you're laughing, they say, be more serious. And I'm just like, nah, you're not going to play with me like that. It's supposed to be the way I want it to be and the way I'm most comfortable. And you can buy it that way. So
do your art how you want to do your art.
Bars.
With the, you've seen the stories about fans acting up. You've seen it with Sonya Deville. People are posting different stuff about like wrestlers where they live and everything. Wow. How do you deal with fans? And being from borderline close to the Mason-Dixon line, you deal with a even wilder amount of fans, because I'm pretty sure you go down south a lot to wrestle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's just be real, being so Afrocentric and a predominantly white fan base, how do you deal with that? Because this is probably the only sport second to soccer where the fans are utterly disrespectful. Now, how do you deal with that as being a woman of color, where let's be real, in America is on the bottom of the totem pole and already gets disrespected in general. Now it's even deeper when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that it's important for there to be, for me, you know, everybody can kind of do it the way that makes them happy and comfortable. But for me, I like to keep a pretty fair line between me and fans. I think access is what kind of like gets people a little drunk sometimes. They think that, you know, because they have access, that they follow you on all your social medias, and you know that you're friends, and maybe they can speak to you a certain way. So it's very important that I conduct myself in a way that people know that that's not happening. You know what I mean? You know, and it's in how I conduct myself, how I speak, I suppose. But in person, I think that I also sort of hold myself up in a way where I feel like there's a buffer between me and somebody trying to like fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Or at least I hope. I hope nobody's tried too hard to make my life too uncomfortable. I was impersonated online once awkwardly, but for the most part.
Oh, that's how you know you made it.
Right. That's why I was like, okay, cool.
What do you mean impersonated online? You can't just
like somebody
move over that real quick. You gotta
impersonate online. Dang, no. Spill the beans, dogs.
I know what
we're listening.
I know what happened to my girl here. Somebody created a whole different Instagram page.
Yes, they did.
And yes, had her pictures on that page.
Yeah.
It was wild.
They were reaching out to somebody that I knew. Somebody I knew reached out and was like, yo, did you just change your IG? And I was like, nah, why? And he's like, and shows me a thread about this long of like messages between him and a person who's pretending to be me, trying to figure out like where they know me from or like stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, that's crazy. I'm thankful that, you know, he showed me immediately. It was like, hey, this is weird. Somebody's like bugging me out trying to, you know, so thankful.
You made it. That's it.
That's
made
what
it,
I said. When
it.
I found out that story, I said, oh, girl made it. Like, come on.
Yeah, you made it. You made it.
You popping on these streets.
Popping.
I don't want that kind of popping. I don't know. That's just very scary, the things that people are willing to do and go through in order to feel important in their worlds. You know, I always chalk it up to, I feel like sometimes people don't feel in charge of what's going on in their world. Yeah. So they go to a little place where they can, and they're like, oh, let me just, you know, and I'm like, okay, girl, I get it. You're not running nothing outside of here. Cool. No problem.
So what are some of your goals besides getting that new car?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like front and center. That's going to be, that's inside me for like the next like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm hankering down. But aside from that, I'm just trying to maintain like training and things like that. Training is so important to me. So I've been training under Jonathan Gresham, under the Ring of Honor banner for a little while. But now that, you know, COVID kind of happened and everybody's kind of trying to figure out how training goes, and there's just been a lot of things that fell through the cracks. So just getting back on track with training is most important. So definitely going to be training today and just keeping myself up, making sure that
you did say you got training at 4 p.m. and you need to get the fuck up out of here. Gotcha, sis. Gotcha. That was her exact text. She was like, yo.
That was the sign off before the sign off. Like,
she definitely hit us. She definitely hit me. She was just like,
I gotta
train. She definitely hit me like, yo, I'm cool with doing this interview though, but 4 o'clock, dog, because I got training and I'm trying to be lit in these streets come 2021.
Wrap this up. I'm trying to take over the world.
No, I do have a match coming up on the 26th of September with Queen Aminata. That just dropped out last night for GCW. So that's going to be a good time. So I'm trying to make sure that I can train up for that and just keep myself nice and limber because we're rolling.
What is some tips training-wise for female wrestlers? Because it's a little different from a male wrestler when it comes to training, but it's the same thing. But what tips would you throw at them when it comes to like staying conditioned, how to eat, like wrestling, what kind of the wrestling style and everything? Like what tips would you give a woman that's like watching this right now, listening to this right now, that's like, yo, hey, I want to get into the business, but I want to know the right way of going about training, both physically and in ring?
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors that kind of come into this. You got to consider a school that you're thinking about going to first. That's gonna really, I think that shapes a lot more than people give credit to. I think that shapes the rest of your, you know, wrestling career a certain way. So you have to put stock into where you're training. You have to start, you know, just being more mindful about every single thing that you do. Be more mindful about what you eat and how you feel after you eat and things like that. Be mindful of, you know, your calorie intake. Start tracking some things. Start to crunch some numbers. Just get a big sheet of paper and just over the course of a couple of days, just write it all down. Write what you eat when you're upset. You know, a couple of goals that you have physically. Do you want to be a certain BMI? Are you trying to be a certain, you know, are you trying to fit into a certain weight class? Things like that. So there's so much to consider, and it is a lifestyle change. This isn't just do this while you're training and then one day you get to never do it again. It's just like, no, it has to be the types of changes and the types of things that you're doing today are going to shape your 3 months from now. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it's important to get that paper, start writing down everything that you're eating, start focusing on, you know, your water intake. I feel like drinking water is never the wrong answer, right? I feel like no matter what's wrong, it's like, drink some water. Okay, you're probably not the wrong answer, right? So just keeping that in mind. Just trying to, you know, if you are going from a sedentary lifestyle, maybe you work, you know, a desk job, or maybe you've never, you know, been an athlete or competed in that way, it's going to be a little different than somebody who maybe ran track in middle school and high school and, you know, a couple years past, they're like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. So it's just, you know, just understanding what your path is and just trying to write everything down. Can't go wrong with writing everything down.
Okay. You ever been body shamed in this industry?
Yes. All the time.
How?
All the time?
How?
Yeah. I mean, just being a part of the business is just one big, nice body shame over the course of, you know, I believe that wrestling is so comparative by nature that it is in very indirect ways. You know what I'm saying? It's about, you know, saying that. So, okay. I didn't know if I was going to even go there, but if I could really quick. So
you can.
A little bit. So a little bit ago, you know, somebody made a comment about like boob size and how that would, you know, could influence whether or not I made it or not. And I just remember kind of going, no, I don't think that's how that works. You know, I just remember you just have to not accept that, because there's too many examples of people that didn't accept that and that are just fine. So I can't buy too much into that. So it was just me kind of going, oh, is this one of those moments where somebody's trying to like make me feel some type of way about my body? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that wrestling is going to cure my body insecurities. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that at all. But I also am not going to bring anybody insecurities into wrestling, you know? So to hear people go like, oh, well, you know, if you lost a little weight, or, you know, you would have an easier time like wrestling, or even if you bulked up some, or, oh, you're looking really frail nowadays, you should bulk up some, just things like that. It goes back to me going, if I produce my art in a way that makes me happy, everything's technically correct, nobody's, you know, I'm not knocking people's heads off or anything like that. Is it okay if my boobs are like this? I'm just saying, is that okay? You know what I'm saying? Does it matter if my hair is like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, does it matter that I lost 20 pounds in the last 4 months? Is that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just very, those business, like those conversations that you have off to the side. Those are just.
So can I ask a question though about something, about the people who ask these questions?
Yeah.
Are they usually on the overweight side, the ones that make these comments?
Yeah, a lot of times it's people that are in a more cushier situation themselves, you know.
So cushier meaning body fat?
No.
I think she meant like maybe some people that.
No, I got what she was saying. I got what she was saying. No, I understood what she was saying.
You just want her to say somebody fat told her something. Right. That's really what you want her to say.
No, hold on. The reason why I'm asking this question is because a lot of time, and she kind of said it herself, a lot of times people who have the most to say, they can't do what you're doing or even come close to looking as good as you do in a physical form. Because people usually have comments to say, and that's why I asked that question, because I know how wrestling fans are, and I know how messed up the industry is.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked that question, because there's a girl that's watching this that might have small boobs, no disrespect, that's like, yo, that's getting shit from their trainer, or the little chunky kid that's in their class talking about, hey, I watched WWE yesterday and homie got some big old boobs. Maybe you should get that. Yeah. That's why I'm asking that question. And the reason why a lot of people who do say that, like I said, are usually the ones you can put down the candy bar.
But I think anybody can put down the candy bar.
I mean, no. Anybody can put down the candy bar, but you need to look in the mirror before you say something to somebody else.
Very true.
Look, I mean, exactly.
I'm just saying.
A lot of those conversations happen with people that are already in the business, not usually with fans. I keep a nice distance away to where, you know, I never really get hit by those strays. I kind of.
Okay. Ooh.
So,
she out here ducking and dodging.
Fingers crossed, you know. But, you know, a lot of those conversations have happened with people that are, you know, just a little bit further along in there, and they want to look back and give advice or something like that. But a lot of times the advice is like a little on the more damaging side. So you got to be mindful about what do I take from this, and what do I leave right here and say thank you so much, and then just keep moving. You know what I'm saying?
So that's my next question is, when do you say nah on this, but yes on this when it comes to advice? Because the people you're probably speaking about, people who probably been 10, 15 years into the business, but they haven't evolved with the business as for themselves, where they marinated the new school with the old school type of way of doing things. So you just said that, hey, I'm gonna take this, but I'm not gonna take this. How do you make that decision?
Well, I try to think about it as constructively as possible. If someone says, okay, let me just see if I can build something real quick. Hey, you know, great match out there. You know, your footwork is getting better every time I see you. I see you got those new boots. That looks awesome. maybe you should also wear like some tights or something over your, so you're not just, you know, so that way when you're doing moves, your leg isn't just, just jiggling.
Yeah. I got you.
That's how they have to say it, I guess. But and it's just kind of taking that and going, oh, it's like now you got to take the constructiveness of it and be like, okay, now could I benefit from this, or or what would have been some motives behind them wanting to, things like that. So it's about taking exactly what they said and going, all right, let's get constructive here, and we're gonna leave whatever doesn't feel like, and then you compare it too with other things of advice that you get. Like if I walk up to someone and says, hey, what can I do to overall become a better performer? And they tell me to invest in my gear and invest in cutting more promos. If they say those two things, then I'm like, okay. Now, if I go to someone else and they say like, oh, maybe you should not invest in gear because, that costs a lot of money and, you're still in training. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about understanding who is giving you the advice, understanding why they would have, and also too, where they've been a lot of times. I mean, I really hate to like put it like that, but a lot of times it's, if you want to be where they are, you're kind of sitting under their learning tree. So if I catch all these apples and I'm like, okay, go with somebody else's learning tree, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of,
I get that.
Yeah. Sorry, I rambled. My bad.
No, you're fine.
You did amazing.
Gotta be like a red light so I can like stop.
Nah, you're fine.
No,
I know
we're never in that business.
So I know you got to go soon, but there's one thing I have to ask you. Dealing with the politics in wrestling.
Dang, we almost made it out. No, just kidding.
No, we did. It was close, but we wait till the end to really hit you with it.
Here we go. No, but sorry, go ahead.
How do you deal with it? Because there's a thin line that you kind of got to walk, where and it comes from that old school mentality of you got to hang out with the boys. You got to go. You got to hang out after the show. You got to politic a little to move up to get more exposure. And you got to talk to this guy, talk to this person, but you got to move a certain type of way. And it's like, and then it comes to a point where it's for some people strenuous, take you out of your character a lot of times, and you're like, fuck, like, how do you deal with that? Because being a Black woman in a predominantly male-dominated sport, how do you maneuver in a pool full of sharks?
It's hard sometimes. I just got to know when to just sometimes pull out, in a sense. So as far as politics go, it always just becomes such a headache, because what I would like to do is just go and wrestle, make some money, sell some shirts, have a good time, see my peeps, and go back home. You know what I mean? So there's this other part sort of threaded in what you have to do to, it feels very threaded in. I'm just like not really wanting to buy in all the time. A lot of times the boys club is the boys club. And sometimes it feels like, as the Black woman outside, like, hey, can I wrestle at that big ass show y'all got? And I know I don't know anybody that works in there. No, I don't have any friends. And no, I wasn't trained at a place where my trainer can just call you. And you know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of factors that like are just involved. So sometimes, I hate to say it, I just end up like unplugging a bit, and that's how I deal with it. And other times when I'm like, okay, this is unfair, I know that I have people I can lean on. It's all about having a community of like-minded people. Once you have a community of like-minded people, all your decisions that you have to make become a little easier, because you're around people that you can trust and bounce ideas off of. To have your little wrestling group chat, of just some people that you respect. So if you have that, at least, I feel like that's a fair enough buffer to keep you from getting too many strays from politics, so to speak. But it is hard sometimes just to try to navigate these things. It's like I gotta shake hands before. But I mean, that's just respect. So that's too easy, you know. But then there's like other little things that, you know, feel kind of threaded into how you're supposed to act. And I'm just like, well, if I wanna just be loud in a corner and sit and cackle with some of my homegirls before we start wrestling, then that's just what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully me doing that didn't just screw me over in some way. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? And it's like, now you start to make adjustments to how you want to act. And then you start to shrink yourself. And then wrestling's not fun. You know, the minute you start being like, oh, now I got to act a certain way around these people, it just becomes not fun. So instead of trying to like square into a circle at the boys club, better to just have your own, you know, have your own village of people, because we don't really have those. There's no politics at Fight Club, you know. It's super open door. Everybody's considered a peer, and there's no just this wild thing of competition that just like really just spoils everything sometimes, you know. So I think politics and wrestling is just never really beneficial all the time for people like me. So I'm just trying to look at it from over here and trying to stay out of its way.
Okay. So I'm Janelle, I'm gonna get you to one moment, but you mentioned something of having a circle of people to be around. And you definitely speak in facts, because Nick Shin, you know, I don't know if you know him. He's a referee within the independent circuit. He had mentioned once that he went to a seminar, and one of the people who was doing a seminar, I forgot who the guy was, but he's been in business for like 20 years. One of the things he says, find somebody that's like-minded like you and is grinding like you, and ride with them.
Yes.
Because they'll make your time in the business a whole lot easier.
That is so true. You know, and that's another hard lesson too. Sorry, I was writing. I hope you don't mind. I was writing as well while you were talking about
bars. You write poetry?
No. But that's 100% true about like having a like-minded individual too. If you start at a certain time, you can kind of like get shoulder to shoulder with somebody, and you can just rock it out. And that's like probably the best case scenario. And I feel like I'm just starting to find that now. You know, I wish I would have left myself. It could have been one or two things. Maybe I just wasn't available. Maybe I just wasn't emotionally available, or just, you know, maybe from the outside looking in. But I never really had like that group ecosystem of like-minded individuals, excuse me. So I'm really working on that now. And that is 100% true. I can't tell you. Everything got easier. Everything got easier. It was just like in the Army too. I'm thinking like, yeah, I can do this by myself. You can't. You can't win a war by yourself. One soldier cannot win a war. Not possible.
Fire.
Bars.
I mean, unless it's Luke Cage, yeah, you can win a war by yourself. Unless it's Luke Cage.
But it's not Luke Cage though.
But Luke Cage had Misty. So
Miss Knight.
Facts. And then wait, and then when she lost her arm, right?
Oh, she became bionic?
Shit was lit.
So are you kind of like Misty Stone? And then you're looking for your Luke Cage?
Bars.
You know what?
Bars.
I'm just going to concede and say yes. I added it to my Netflix. I hadn't cut it on yet, y'all.
No, it's fine. But
it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. We're just saying that right now you're on the journey, and you're looking to join the village or create your own village. I'm trying to get deep, but it's not working right now.
It's not at all.
No, but you know
it's
what?
not working?
You know what?
At all.
Yes, I am Misty. Misty is me. We are the one and the same. we here, me and my girl Misty.
Out of control. Mr. Black, do you have one last question for our champ here?
What advice would you give to the 10-year-old version of yourself?
My gosh. Do y'all have like 40 minutes? Because there's a lot of stuff I need to tell.
You got training. It's up to you.
Just one or two.
Yeah, right. So the first thing I would tell her is to, of course, always stand up tall. That's the most important thing. Honestly, the way you carry yourself physically, and it didn't even make sense to me. I'm going to tangent real quick. It didn't make sense to me. I was out in Cali for Hood Slam once, and I was just walking about, and there was this woman who just had her shoulders back And she had her chin up. She had the cutest little bag. She seemed so in control of herself in the moment. And to just see somebody walk past me like that, and it made more sense to me. I was like, oh, that's what I can have. That's who I can be. All I got to do is just stand up straight. What she just did, walking past me, who knows? She walks past millions of people, I'm sure. And what she just did to me and walking past me changed my entire life. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing somebody like carry themselves in just an interesting way, you know, just seeming so in control. So I want to tell 10-year-old Trish to always stand up straight, keep your shoulders back, keep that chin up. Don't let them fuck with you.
Bars. We're gonna call this episode bars.
Sorry, I cursed.
Don't be sorry, girl. We got sailor mouths. Don't even feel any type of bad about that. Sir Wilkins, do you have one last question for our champ?
I don't have any last questions. I just have a statement. Please keep January open as much as you can.
Okay.
Maybe a person on your list you might be able to go up against.
That we may be able to make happen.
We might be able to make happen. But
I don't know about Jazz, but somebody on that list.
There's some conversations going on, and we need you in the Northeast. You were supposed to be in the Northeast for July.
Remember in April when Battle was gonna do the all-female show, and then that was right after WrestleMania weekend. And Corona happened.
We had a whole thing planned.
We had a whole thing planned for you, girl. Like when I tell you we had stuff, we had stuff.
You're about to get you were about to get the Keith Lee rub in Survivor Series.
Legit.
No. Oh shit. No, you're about to get the Keith Lee rub.
Shoot. But look, we can run it back.
2021 it's gonna be crazy. We already know it.
Honestly.
All right, my last question is something I've noticed. What does sunflowers mean to you?
Yeah, so sunflowers are like the flower of loyalty and friendship. You know, it's the new beginning flower, so to speak. So I always feel like every day it feels like a new beginning. It's a new 24 to either do everything you wanted to do or just sit and wish you could do what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And so just, I don't know, the sunflower just kind of speaks to me on that level. Yellow is a favorite color of mine too. So.
It's on her, like her Instagram. She got sunflowers there. I was like, I gotta ask her this question because it's all over and stuff like that. Just, it means something. So it's always good to know what those things mean to you. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. It was so funny. As a team, we were like, we're gonna keep it short, sweet, but it just rolled right, and it was and it was a conversation I think that needed to be happened. We appreciate you taking the time out and joining us. Please, tell the viewers and the fans where to find you and any upcoming shows you may have.
Yes, so I'm at Trish Adora 202, and that is on Twitter and Instagram. I also have an athlete page on Facebook. Around the Way Girl is the title of the athlete page on Facebook.
That's really your song? That's really what it's called? That's really what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Around the Way Girl.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Right, mine too. That's funny. Yeah, that's where I kind of got it from. I'm like, that's kind of me through and through. That's so funny. Yeah. So, so Twitter and IG. Let's see. I did speak on 2 matches. The triple threat where I won my beautiful Pan-African title. I will have that linked in my Instagram description. I will get that set up. And then Mercedes Blaze, I will have that in my Twitter. So those will be in my Twitter bios if you want to kind of catch a match or two.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh yes, upcoming match, September 26th. We're going to Indiana. I'll be with GCW Pro Wrestling. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be me versus Queen Aminata. It's honestly Clash of 2 Queens, so it's gonna be really interesting.
Not done?
Getting
hold on.
Getting a roll around a little bit.
Thank you for muting yourself, sir. Like, how you mad because they doing a job? Like,
no, that's all good though. But me versus Queen Aminata in Indiana for GCW on September 26th. That's going to be a good time. I'm excited to be able to like roll around with her. I think that it's a long time coming, and honestly, just the beginning too. So
good to hear. But once again, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We are proud of you. We thank you for being a part of the representation, because when you said representation matters, I was just like, yes, sister girl, yes. Because we always say at the end of our show, Black Excellence. And we used to get hell for it all in the beginning. Like when we started our podcast, we used to get people always say like, well, why do you guys say that? What do you mean? And this is like, what you have to understand is we matter, and we have to have that platform where we could do stuff like this. So for us, it's an honor for you to join us. So we thank you so much. Make sure you stay safe out there in DC and training, and hopefully, we may make some moves to try to be in Indiana. We don't know yet, but if we do, we would love to see you. And then once again, January 2021, keep open, okay?
Okay. I'll keep that nice and wide open for y'all.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I'm Janelle from HR here with Sir Wilkins. Mr. Blackman to go fix his furniture, so he'll be back shortly. But thanks to the lovely Miss Trish Adora for joining us today. Once again, you can find this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of us. Hashtag Black Excellence.
We're gonna still continue after she goes.
Oh, but I mean, don't you want to stop it and then start it again?
No, we're just gonna continue going.
Whatever, how do you start? Like,
and
you don't.
No, just kidding.
Like literally, that's how he wanted it to be. I'm like, what? Like he's not even back on screen.
We talked about it during pre-production. We're just gonna keep rolling.
Okay,
job it is.
So we're gonna cut this part.
He's right back. He's there right now.
I'm gonna go grab something to drink real quick.
So go grab something to drink, and then me and my brother will talk.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, all right. So we was like, so what's going on? I missed it.
Trish is gonna go wrestle in her school, and we'll talk later. Peace out.
Yes.
What time later?
Thank y'all so much. I had a really good time. I appreciate y'all.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. So what's first on the docket when it comes to what you want to talk about?
Dang, Janelle, good at this. We'll talk about the Keith Lee situation and stuff like that. And yeah.
Well, she's back. She ain't going nowhere. She went away for like 2 seconds to grab some water.
What? I didn't even say to drink. I wasn't going nowhere.
I'll be right back. Let me change my shirt.
How you get a wardrobe change?
We'll continue talking. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, this is the second half of Job Tears podcast episode. This week in wrestling has been very interesting. We've gotten some returns, we've gotten some losses. Oh boy, where do we begin? So let's talk about SummerSlam, the biggest event of the summer that had the Thunderdome. Where you get people acting ignorant as fuck. That WWE didn't think about that. Like,
hold on.
It could have been worse. Actually, the only 3 instances that I've heard, I was surprised that it was just 3.
But let's rewind though. Who would think people are that fucking stupid and that fucked up? Normal human beings with regular mental capacity wouldn't be doing something like that.
Okay, not the KKK thing. No, that's wild.
Let's mention the 3 things.
Okay.
1, somebody put a picture of Chris Benoit up.
Bad funny, but but that's believable though. That could happen at a live show.
Yeah,
2 out of the 3 could happen in real life.
The Chris Benoit, maybe I can kind of give you that. Number 2, which is like the second worst. Somebody was sipping on Welch's grape juice in a whole fucking KKK outfit.
Ooh, in a hood. Why?
Wild. Number 3 was the worst thing I ever seen. That person should like be taken off the earth. I'm gonna keep it a buck. They were streaming beheading.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that one.
You didn't hear that one?
No.
They were streaming a beheading in
India or something?
No, they were just showing a video of it, of somebody being beheaded
That's
on the virtual shit.
That's wild.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's like, yo, this is some next level shit.
Like, you have to think outside of the box to do some shit like that.
No, don't pump that up. What's wrong
No,
with you?
I'm just saying, like, that's something like you gotta really be out there to really think of some shit like that.
No, that means you're a psycho.
What I miss?
That means you're a psycho.
All right, what I miss, y'all?
We're talking about the fans who are
We're
putting
talking
reckless,
about the Thunderdome.
the reckless virtual fans.
Was it a hit or miss? Was the Thunderdome a hit or miss?
Hit. It was a hit. It was a hit. It was a hit because people, even though people was complaining about, oh, this, that, and third, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, it looks like fans was actually there. Like, just like
I thought they was outside for SummerSlam. Like the way that they had the arena set up.
Right.
Like,
it was cool. And just like Dre said, it felt like you was playing a video game because the crowd looked so digital, but it made sense. The only down I have to give it is the lack of real fan reaction. Like it felt so unnatural. So it wasn't the same. But other than that, due to the circumstances, which I understand for what it was, it's cool. So I'm fine with that.
But I just think technicality, like the feedback they would get if everybody was like actual mic on would have been wild. Like that's like I think that would have been too much.
Of course.
But I do think there were some instances where the audio, whether it was like a soundboard or not, made sense. Like when Randall came out and people was like cheering and booing, like it was a mixture of both. That's what you would naturally get at a show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think overall Thunderdome is dope. I find it so funny. Like people, it's like next level shit. Like I found out you apply to certain times. Cause I was saying there like, yo, so does anybody in the front row ever get moved? Like this is a rotation. Like, and it is like there's people that come in and out throughout the whole show, which I think is cool.
I think it's dope. Other than like, of course, you're gonna have fans who are dicks and who want to dress like KKK people. Like the whole seeing Pikachu, all these bears, that was cool because that's the wackiness you expect from a wrestling show. But outside of that, when you see someone dressed the whole Klans member outfit,
that's wild.
To me, like to me is just dang, son.
It's like you snitching on yourself because guess what? They have your IP address, so they could definitely like roll up to you and be like, hello.
So what WWE said, people who violate FCC standards will be fined and they have to pay that fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they will also be banned from anything WWE.
That's why. Why would you risk being banned for life? Like,
because people want to troll. People want to troll.
But I will say I'm surprised that it wasn't as many as like it could have been. Because like honestly speaking, I think it's a great experience, especially for kids that's in that technology era that like want to be on they're home and they haven't been to an event, and for them to get that opportunity to kind of like be on TV and like at home, like that's pretty dope.
Thank you.
You can't get that nowhere else, kind of. So that's really
or your friends see you this, that, or third. Like, I think that's a real great experience, But again, hopefully, like WWE follow up with their stern warning and actually fine people. The people don't learn to do stupidness like that. People was worrying about people showing dicks and titties and all that, but nobody mentioned that
they was doing that in '97 on USA. So
thank you.
That's why I was like that, because when I thought the third one, because I didn't know about the beheaded one. I thought the third one was like the Fire Velveteen Dream one. And I was like, honestly, if it was 97, the whole arena had fucking signs and shit, that would have been nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, the Fire Velveteen Dream one is like, it is what it is on that one.
Yeah.
That's not crazy to me. That's like you making a statement.
Right. But like some wild...
The KKK thing that's racist.
As fuck.
The beheading thing, that is, you're a sadistic person.
That's like that's like really borderline terrorism. That's terroristic. That's wild.
And the Chris Benoit one was like mega trolling.
Yeah. Chris Benoit was mega trolling.
But in general, it wasn't those. The Chris Benoit one doesn't really bother me too much, or neither does the Velveteen Dream one.
Nah.
But the KKK one and
that shit is wild. Especially the times that we're living in right now.
The beheading one, that's not cool at all. And I'm happy like they're gonna put their foot on it. And like a lot of people are acting are like mad at WWE. Like they control that.
You can't listen. There's only but so much you could do. You know what I mean? And when you're live, it's like you can't, just cut off all the feed and try to finesse it. Like it's not in they control. Like they allow people. Now it would really be crazy if they start charging niggas to get on this Thunderdome shit. Like
no. Oh, I heard.
That'd be
I don't mean to cut you off, but I heard that those virtual interviews, like those virtual meet and greets, was worth it.
Is it really?
See.
I saw somebody tweet about it. They were like, "Yo, it's a little expensive."
It's not a little. It's a 10.
But the thing about it, you get a legit intimate moment with the person you're talking to.
Oh, I should have did the Keith Lee then. Shit.
Because if you really think about it, a regular meet and greet is usually shoot the picture, maybe a hug, maybe a handshake, you out. And you sign whatever picture you have.
It literally is. It's like less than it's the quickest, if anything, 60 seconds. Like anytime I've met someone, whether it was Access or anything, it literally was like, next, take the picture, say a few words, and then
And how much are those? Usually?
Well, it depends on the ones that you do. So like the one for Access, it was with the Access ticket, so it was like maybe $50. But like the thing about Access that I did like, because it's WrestleMania last year, the Access that I liked because it was like an area, like whatever area you were in, like the main person you wanted to see, but then you got to see like maybe 6 other people. Yeah. So like I specifically wanted to go to the area where Samoa Joe was at, but I also met Brian Kendrick, I met Medusa, I met Ivory, I met Apollo Crews. It was like 5 or 6 other people that was in that, and then I got to Joe. So with that, it made sense. But like the 125 things or stuff like that's like that level, it literally is like when I met John Cena years ago, it literally was like you sat, you say a few words, maybe a question, take the picture, and that's it. Like when I met Triple H, it literally was like I spoke to Stephanie, she said a few words, we took the picture, I hugged Trips, I hugged Steph, I hugged Trips again because I had a double dip, and then I was out. So.
But that's what I'm saying though. It's like, yo, you only get whatever certain time of the day. 2 minutes. Granted, 2 minutes is not a long time, but 2 minutes can feel like a long time. Yes. If you can get at least your question out and stuff of that nature, you get your autograph, and it's literally like you doing a fucking a FaceTime with somebody and they're having a quick conversation with them.
Like that was the only way. I told y'all. I was like, I was teetering with getting Keith Lee because I was like, this is probably the only way I don't have to go do WWE loopholes to get an interview. So I thought about that part of it, but then I was like, 125, like we in coronavirus season. I was like, I don't know.
But then again, I totally get it.
But then again, like I see it this way: how many wrestling fans spend money on Jordans? And Jordans is way more expensive.
Oh, how many wrestling fans spend money on merch alone?
On merch.
On belts.
On belts and stuff like that. The fact that wrestling fans say, that's too much money, let's just say hi to someone. I'm looking like, boy, Jordans is $190. The jackets, like the chalk jackets, like $120. It never goes on sale. Like you said, like you said, the belts are like what, $200, $300. And let's not forget all the shirts that you accumulate within 1 year. Or let's not forget the tickets that you bought for WrestleMania will be way more, plus the hotel and all of that. It's all part of the big picture. Matter of fact, if you look at
those things are more like you're gonna.
I understand that, but it's more.
But as a consumer, you're gonna spend more on the experience. So that part I wouldn't put in that comparison because you're gonna. Spend
it's the same exact thing. It's okay, like you said, experience. You spend $120. You went, let's say how that your favorite, like my favorite wrestler that I would love to I would go like, damn, this is my dogs, is I already met Cedric the Entertainer. Like
when that nigga said that on Raw,
I was hyped. I was hyped.
Somebody's listening.
So I was hyped. I don't care. So like if somebody that the Miz, get one-on-one with the Miz, because I love the Miz, everything you do. Like my brother says, the 2 minutes, it won't feel like 2 minutes because it'll feel a lot longer because you're not estimating time. You're not like looking at the time and say, 2 minutes is up. Facts. And you as a fan, you could get, Miz, it would be cool if you could shout out my podcast. You record it, boom, exposure. Like a lot of people don't see the bigger picture.
But
like,
the thing is, I get what you guys are saying. It is about the experience, but doing sales, like working in the sales business all my entire life, they always teach you two things. You have to sell an experience to people so people can buy it. Because you're talking about Jordans, sneakers, Jordans are sneakers, but belts, jackets, and all of that. I get to take that home. I keep that. I get to touch it. I get to put it in I get to continue looking at it. And some people value that a whole lot more. Everybody's different.
Correct.
And some people don't see the value in an experience. They see the value in something I can touch, something I can put away and put in my closet and keep looking at. Everybody's different. There's a reason why some people just collect belts. That's their thing. I'm not really a meet and, but that's their thing. But I'm not a meet and greet person. I don't see the big deal about doing a meet and greet. But half of the people like to see, but people are into that.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'll never forget the moment that Ric Flair was coming to HOG, there was nothing that was stopping me from going to meet Ric Flair.
Or the fact
but
that Road Dogs told us that we didn't know.
Yo, the moments I've had with your brother meeting people at indie shows is actually borderline ridiculous, because when Road Dogg and we were just casually talking and we didn't really say nothing, but then your brother said, "Oh, he started it off." He said the second part to, "Oh, you didn't know," but then when Road Dogg said it back to us, we was just like, "Oh, like we didn't even pay for that." Like,
or how about my son Tommy Dreamer? Oh man.
My God.
Or when like Nyla Rose said, "I watch your guys' show." Come on, dogs.
That was priceless. Shout out to anyone that supported the JavaScript podcast, whether you're a wrestler or not, because that shit means a lot to us, regardless of anybody. But when Nyla said that, I was just like, "You do? Like, you sure it's us?" Like, because it's just like you never know who's watching, type of thing. So, but anyway,
yeah.
But anyway, as we were talking about Thunderdome, let's just go right into it. In terms of SummerSlam, what was an up? What was a down? What did we think about the biggest non-person summer event of the year?
I thought it was a good show. I thought it was one of the better SummerSlams in a while. I mean, what capped it off, everybody's going to talk about it, is Roman returning.
Yeah.
Huh?
Continue.
What happened? What's the problem? Then why are you saying something?
No, you know what's so funny? So, shout out to Eric that had put it on the JavaScript podcast page. He was like, "You know, you jinxed it, because last week's episode I brought up Roman." Which is without knowing. Like, I was just like, because we spoke about it. It was like, Roman being off TV, to me, I was like, it made the best sense in the world. It was a good reset, because when he does come back, then everybody's going to appreciate it. Yeah. Not knowing that 72 hours later, that was going to go into fruition. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, it was awesome. He came back with new teeth.
Brand new grills.
I'm not mad at it. Like I always say, if I ever get money, I'm getting new teeth.
But would you get new teeth in the sport where you could get your teeth knocked out?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to. The thing about the possibility of you getting your teeth knocked out is very unlikely.
But it can happen.
Yeah, but it's like super like low on the spectrum. Like it's like living your life in fear. Like you can get your teeth knocked out walking down the street. Like any moment you get your teeth knocked out.
Correct.
So it's not a big deal. Like him getting new teeth, I was like, yo, bro, get this money. You look great. Plus, you're gonna be doing more movies and shit. And this is something I always talk about. The way WWE acts and the way they project themselves as. They are so caught up with trying to be like the NFL that it should be like the NBA. And Roman's return should have been bigger. The reaction was amazing, but it could have been a bigger reaction. And the reason why I compare it to the NFL to the NBA, because WWE wants WrestleMania to be like the Super Bowl, and WWE being the brand. Like you only care about WWE. You watch WWE for WWE. But that you can't do that. you have a bunch of superstars. They're stars and they're also personalities. And that's why it just like they need to switch it up. And Roman is really at the cusp of being a mega superstar, but it's WWE's fault that he's not a mega superstar.
That's what a lot of people are mega superstars. Like
no, that's what I'm saying. No, you're right.
A lot of people
aren't mega superstars because WWE doesn't want nobody to become a mega superstar.
Look at The Miz. Like, honestly, like, sorry to cut you off, though, but me watching Talking Smack, whatever, and something that The Miz brought up, like, he was just like, I worked hard, whatever. We can talk about that later. I'm not talking about the Biggie side, but he worked hard. And I saw, when I looked up timelines, you realize The Miz was in mad WWE movies. He literally hosts 2 shows on the USA Network. He does mad Make-A-Wish. He does mad interviews. And he always does something for the next person up, just like John Cena. And then I realized that, WWE kind of low-key pigeonholed. And Ryback said something when he was interviewing Rusev. And he said that, I was supposed to be on the international cover of Muscle Magazine, but they said no. And Triple H and Stephanie was on that cover. The same month I was supposed to be on. And then he said, WWE don't allow you to do certain stuff for some reason. Why? It's like they pick and choose who you want to let you do. For example, let me finish. Let me bring it back. For example, it was like a whole tattoo con, right? CM Punk has mad tattoos. He's been a tattoo artist. He loved tattoos. They didn't say no. They said no. They said no to him, but let Randy Orton do it. So they pick and choose who let people do certain stuff. And like you said, they'll let people go but so far.
But it goes back to what I said earlier. WWE's so this is it. I've watched this all the time and I say this all the time. WWE's whole premise is you come to watch WWE. That is their premise. You watch WrestleMania for WrestleMania because it's the biggest event in sports entertainment.
You said that earlier.
Hold on.
You're just rephrasing it.
Hold on. Wait. I'm not done. The reason why they're like that is because they are trying to make it a big brand. The NFL does the same thing, but the reason why that's an issue is because the difference is the NFL, you don't see the players' faces. The NFL is tribal, meaning that you love a team. I love the Eagles. So whoever player goes on the Eagles, I'm still gonna love them. Nick Foles brought us a Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck about Nick Foles anymore. He's not on my team. That's what it is.
Nick.
That's what it is. And their whole thing is that what happened in the Attitude Era and what happened in the Ruthless Aggression Era, when people left and they had nobody else to do.
Again, that goes back to the company's fault because
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're right.
They ruined it.
With you.
They like honestly, they messed it up because there's one thing that I preach all the time. You had a lot of great hands around John Cena. But John Cena, again, I'm not blaming this on John Cena. It's not John Cena's fault. He literally just doing his job. But you literally had guys where after like he was on the decline as far as being there, you had to bring in other guys to fill in that void where you had guys right there and then you looking like, bro, like, you had The Miz, you have MVP, you had so much different guys where you could have so many different kind of title reigns to fit that mold. And like you said, WWE had to do what it have to do, but now it's kind of backfiring on them because
it backfires on them because WWE is based on personalities, which goes back to my analogy of the NBA. The reason why the NBA is what it is, their stars make the league.
Facts.
There's a reason why people are buying Laker jerseys because of LeBron James.
Facts.
Not because they're Laker fans, it's because of LeBron James.
Facts.
And WWE doesn't want it. WWE is trying to prevent them losing money if somebody leaves. Because you mentioned John Cena. Now, look at who was around with him during the Ruthless Aggression Era. 90% of them left the company to do other things. So in WWE's eyes, it's like, you know what? We're not getting paid off if you guys leave. We have to make sure that we protect ourselves. But It's like being in a relationship. You go into a new relationship, you got shitted on the last one, so you bring all that baggage to that new relationship.
Ooh, say that louder for those in the back.
So it hurts your current relationship. And what I'm trying to say, and I'm gonna keep preaching this, they need to go to the NBA, back to the NBA model. Now, one of my favorite matches of all time, Janelle knows this, and you might know this, is Armageddon. The 6-way Hell in a Cell.
Ooh. Everybody had something. Even my son Rakishi was doing something.
Now the reason why that's my favorite, besides of it, just the build-up going on in the pay-per-view itself, to me, that was the peak and the sudden decline of the Attitude Era. Because at that point, you had 6 Hall of Famers in a match. And by accident,
she is a Hall of Famer.
By accident, you created mega superstars and Rakishi. By accident, that happened because
he's the kicker.
Stone Cold came because when the Attitude Era was about to start, they said we're gonna make Stone Cold a motherfucking superstar. Stone Cold gets injured. Who comes up next?
Triple H, Rock.
No, The Rock comes up next. Mega superstar. Triple H, borderline mega superstar. You have Undertaker, who's been around for a long time.
He was.
You had Rakishi there. You had Kurt Angle, who was the next up. Now, Kurt Angle was a borderline about to become a mega superstar, but drugs got in the way and he left the company.
But he won that match, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my thing is to go back to SummerSlam, Roman coming back and the reaction from the people. There's people who marked out who are not even Roman fans. Now imagine if WWE takes the chains off Roman for a little bit and let him become a mega superstar. He literally has everything going for him.
Everything. Like, Nate even mentioned, like, I'm going to break down some of the tricks that he has that everybody loves in the locker room. He's a leader through and through. And let's not talk about he looks good. Like, he looks good in movies. When he's himself, you feel every moment of it. He could be the next action star from WWE. Let's not forget, his move set is so diverse. Like, it's so diverse. Like, his match with Buddy Murphy, Murphy, the artist from Buddy Murphy. His matches with with Bray, his match with Seth, his match with Stone, with John Cena. Anybody he stepped in the ring with, he not only just try to elevate himself, but elevate them at the same exact time. His little feud with The Miz for the IC title on Raw Anniversary. That match was another banger. People have to give credit to Roman. Oh, Roman shoved down her throat. It's not his fault. People forget at the end of the day, it's still a job. But at my job, tell me that, at my job, they told me that, I have many opportunities to elevate within the company. It's up to me. Like, I'm not going to say no because I'm a marquee player at my job. I'm nice. I put in that work in. Just like Roman, he put in the work in. So what if his family is like the whole Samoan dynasty? So what? At the end of the day, when you are Samoan coming from that family, you have a certain bar that you have to reach. Like, Samoans are nice. If you don't reach that, you're a failure. The fact that he met that mark and over-succeeded, come on, give that man credit, dogs. But people want to look at Roman like Roman improved from his mic skills, his in-ring skills, his presentation. At the end of the day,
we don't know the presentation though, because you can say the presentation. I hope his ring gear changes.
No. What I'm got presentation like is like the fact that when he roars, when he do certain moves, you looking like I feel him. When he roars, I roar too because I feel him. The fact that he draw emotions from people, like at the end of the day, he comes from that football background. He comes from a good background, from many different backgrounds. He had very different people in his ears and teachers. So Roman, some people say he's a heel. No, he's not. Roman being Roman. And why would it make him a heel and SmackDown's lacking true baby faces? And the Fiend is a tweener. What's the name? Braun Strowman is a heel. The Miz, John Morrison. There's so much heels on there. There's faces, but they're not on the same level as a Roman or a Seth. What I mean by saying, now, I'm not talking Roman as megastar, but like the drawing power. Like you want to see Seth lose to a Rey Mysterio. You don't have those. Like you want to see the New Day. Like the New Day is there, but they still building up Big E to where he needs to be that star to run the brand. So at the end of the day, listen, I respect Roman through and through because to me, Roman is something that you want to aim to be as a wrestler, respecting the locker room and putting that work in. That to me is a complete package.
But I raised something else, guys. Sasha Banks.
Ooh, but she's a female. She's a female.
Wait. No.
Because like how that Roman is for the men division and Sasha is for like the female division. That's what I mean. And like they can't wrestle each other. But as far as star power, Sasha Banks got it.
They can wrestle each other.
And people will complain about it. Come on, people complain about it.
People complain about everything every day, B. Like
listen. I'm gonna say this. Sasha shouldn't have lost this past week.
Bailey should have.
She shouldn't have lost the title. And then
she shouldn't have lost the title.
Yeah, I agree.
But that goes back to what I'm saying though. But go ahead.
No, but I'm saying she shouldn't have lost the title because once again it gives that whole like you put a title on her 3 weeks ago and then you take it off of her. If that was the case, you should never gave her the belt to begin with. But I get the whole you want to do the 2 belts for them and the power trip thing. So it's fine.
They make Bailey lose. Bailey can afford the L.
But once again, if you're going to give Sasha that ultimate heel, I can see why they took the belt off her.
Oh, to face Bailey,
Bailey
cheeks.
Bailey
dose belts.
That's essentially what they've been building on the last 6 months. Is
Bailey dose belts.
Them getting to probably waiting. They're trying to wait out, I guess, till they have fans, but they've been building Sasha Banks versus Bailey. Period.
But okay, Janelle, that's a good point. But why not have her lose at Payback?
Because Payback's going to be where they lose the belts.
But
they're going to lose the tag belts.
Yeah. But you could do something else. You could be more creative.
Well, no, the thing is, it to me, it like I want Sasha to hold it, but I can creatively see it where it's like literally the destruction of the best friends.
You are right. But this goes back to what I'm saying of becoming a mega superstar. You need to make her look strong. I personally, I've said this numerous times on this podcast, is the fact that Sasha Banks is the most marketable woman on that roster. She has everything. And her winning adds another notch to her belt and makes her defense, makes her title reign a little bit stronger. Because, for instance, we can shit on Kofi about the way he lost his title.
Oh, but I don't care. Kofi could have lost that belt the next night on Raw. And
no. But the thing about it, nobody can take away that he had a strong reign as a champ.
Oh yeah,
he had multiple defenses as a champ.
He defended the belt probably every pay-per-view leading up to October.
And honestly, like I gotta say this about Kofi reign. That was the only time I felt that Kofi had a meaningful storyline. Outside that, when he was beefing with Randy Orton. All his reigns, from his tag team reigns, from his US reigns, IC reigns, I never felt there was like a big story behind him. Like, ooh, you got to go against this dude. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. Kofi wins like a match, and after he's not a contender for IC title, then he wins it, he celebrates it. That's it. You're right. That's the only time I felt that was a meaningful reign. His single reign outside his tag team reign, but his single reign, that's the only time I felt was meaningful.
But I think, I think that not the issue, but I think that the thing that is different was that everybody was invested in Kofi now versus then.
But that's the only time they gave him a meaningful storyline.
He's right, but guys, he became a superstar. People love him.
To Africa, B.
He went home. He went home. So that's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. They don't do that anymore. Why is that Drew McIntyre is on First Take?
Boring.
Wait, hold on. No. Hold on. Drew McIntyre is on First Take with Triple H. Why is that? Why isn't Sasha Banks and Bailey doing fucking late night with somebody or on a fucking The Daily Show anymore. That is taking away superstar status.
Why they're not on the why they're not on these little shows like the View? Why they're not on the Real stuff like that? And the crazy thing, what's got me tight? Cut me tight is Selena Vega, Bianca Belair beat up Selena Vega on Twitch. They didn't even mention that. They did not mention that at all.
Son, that's what I'm saying.
And right there and then, that could have been an ill crossover because we play video games. We on Twitch right now. Shout out to Twitch. We on Twitch. People watching stuff like that. I be looking at people like WWE, like, yo, what are you guys doing? Like my brother
because
said,
they don't want to make they don't want to make mega superstars.
They just want to make stars.
The last mega superstar in WWE that was a female was the Bella Twins. It's becoming.
So, do you think that? Because I know you and we all agree Sasha Banks is.
Oh no, you got Ronda Rousey.
Is the most rockable, but I was gonna bring up Charlotte because Charlotte was doing all like the media things and shows and when she had the belt, she was on NBA. Right, but I mean, as a company, you have to understand there's a method to the madness. It's not even so much of like they doing it for one and not the other. And as owner of Battle Club, just say that you want to keep things in house. You don't want to have someone give them an opportunity and then they go run off. And then that's what I'm saying though. The thing is, I understand the reason behind it. But the thing about it, that reason is not good enough because I guess you don't want to go back to making more money. There's a reason why. So I was watching the Rough Riders Chronicles, right? It's fucking great, fucking amazing. You had DMX, you had Eve, right? Those were their top people. How many movies was DMX in? That wasn't produced by Rough Riders. And he turned to mega superstars. Mega superstar. Eve had her own TV show. Eve did how many things outside of Rough Riders? Hold on, keep talking.
But the problem with that is they let them be, but it also grew Rough Riders in the end.
Hey, you forget that Jadakiss was on the Reebok commercial with AI.
That's what I'm saying. When things doesn't have to be in-house all the time, because at the end of the day, you still live there. So you're still paying rent there.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you leave, you make some other stars. It's a revolving door, the business is. And I understand you're going to lose money at the end of the day because somebody's going to leave, but your next guy up is going to be a star. That's what I'm saying. Tiffany.
Oh, she thick.
Yeah, she thick. Tiffany thick. Tiffany.
Tiffany Wilkins hi.
Tiffany look like a whole ass snack.
Oh,
he
said you look like a whole snack.
She's the whole restaurant. She fine.
He said, I'm not gonna repeat that.
I already said it. It's on wax.
You said what?
But
you said what? What? I didn't say anything. Oh, okay. But they can see you. They can't hear you. But
delicious.
Delicious.
Fluffy.
Wow. That's gross.
I'll be his whole dinner.
Did you hear her?
Oh yeah, there you go. You said the whole dinner. I called the restaurant because she fine.
He said his brother calls you the whole restaurant.
Fine.
I don't know how to take that.
She said, I don't know how to take that.
That means you fine. You
like you fine. Like you like five-star class.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So what are we moving? What's next on the docket?
The MVP, I think, of the week, Sir Keith Lee.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen,
MVP of the week. You more like he came off the bench, and the coach was like, "Nah,
he said
go back on."
He said,
"You can't come in. You have to change your jersey because it's."
I mean, I see this with the whole Keith Lee. Yes, I'm gonna break it down to 3 different topics. His song, Out of His Hands. Comes to find out they had a bad deal with CFO, stuff like that. So they'll get 50% of all royalties. So they're encouraging people not to use their song no more. It is what it is. It happens. Boom. His ring gear, again, I kind of feel like that ring gear just kind of took it away from him because he was on Survivor Series with that ring gear. He was on the whole Royal Rumble with that ring gear. It makes Keith Lee him. Like his shorts was way too baggy. I'm looking like, come on, Keith Lee. Like it's not him. I understand he wore that suit like Mark Henry was. It was more tight and fitted. Cool. But the shorts just took it away from me. It looks like, like he borrowed some shorts from somebody. Like, left my shorts at home. It's too big. He wear them. I'm looking like, come on, Keith. Come on. And third of all is, regardless of those two negatives, he's still getting a match with one of the top dogs in WWE. Randy
I'm
Orton.
glad you brought that up because my issue was I'm actually trying to tiptoe. I'm actually tiptoe like she couldn't just walk. My issue with it is that everybody will complain about the music, which I actually did not mind.
It's not that
I just
bad.
didn't like the whole it gasses you up because it'll start off old and then transition. It's like with like Bray Wyatt when it like the light starts coming down and then it comes to let me in. You know what I mean? So that part of it was weird.
Look, his music is something that he always fixes.
But his music, I actually dig because to me it gave me like oh shit, this is a different vibe. We on Raw, like
he's on Raw. He's not NXT no more.
Vibe for me, so I actually liked it. Everybody bitch and moan like, oh my god, it's so generic. Who gives a shit? It's a song, and guess what? 3 months from now, you bitches is gonna be singing the shit and playing it on Spotify, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is catchy. And you're gonna forget that you even complained about it 3 months ago. So let's just stop the bullshit there.
So next,
and then second, in terms of the attire, I've never been one that like dictates like I like the person because of their ring gear.
Neither.
Like it's never been my thing personally. So like
you can always change the ring gear. You can always change it.
He still looks like Keith Lee.
Yeah,
so
like,
I'm still.
And someone said that. Oh, Keith Lee looking like they made him shave. I'm looking like Keith Lee always shaves this.
But you know what's crazy though? Someone else mentioned to me the shave, and I was just like, actually, he looks younger with the shave.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. If you're going to give him. If you're gonna give him a fresher look, if you're gonna put him on a different brand, he should have a little bit of a different look.
I thank you.
And it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
And at the end of the day, he's feuding with a legend, Randy Orton.
His opening on Raw was a segment with Randall,
and the fact that
it reminded me of, and it's not comparison because that's what people's gonna do when I say this, but it reminded me when Jericho debuted with The Rock.
Exactly.
It gave me that same vibe where it was like you have someone who's a veteran, someone that's a top guy in the company, and you have the new guy who's getting his way up the ladder, and they're clashing for the first time.
Exactly.
You have to give that man credit.
Exactly.
Nobody else can always come up and grab a mic and introduce himself to Randall Orton the way that he did.
And during that little like I call it the warm-up match. Test the strength
because I'm not even gonna hold you
and stuff like that. Keith Lee pushed them, and Randy Orton was like, "Oh shoot!" It gave him that rub.
Randall can sell, so I give him.
He did. Randy Orton did his part to make sure that Keith Lee looked good, and I know that the whole payback match is gonna look even better. That's like a marquee to me. How he was brought up, it was kind of on the same scale of when KO debuted against John Cena. The fact that he had the NXT title, he raised it up and stepped on a US title to show that, I'm here. People forget little key stuff that people are missing, like, this is perfect. Yes. Oh, you turn back to NXT. No. Oh, you lost NXT title. I'm looking like Sami Zayn lost the title mad quick. Drew McIntyre lost the prior mad quick. People forget, like, it's all about the bigger picture. And like someone said, Kieran Cross, like, you've been pushing him. For him just to lose, and like what's the next NXT takeover gonna be in a while? You don't want a whole Brian Cage situation. You don't
even get me started about how Brian Cage went into AEW thinking he was gonna be the next top superstar, and guess what? He is the lackey to fucking Ricky Starks. So who the fuck would have thunk that?
So you don't want that situation no more, dogs.
But the thing is, for me, pageantry is key. I don't like what he has on. It looks stupid on him, and it will change because he did tweet about it. He said it's just the beginning; things are going to adjust and everything of that nature. But pageantry is key. presentation is key.
Thank you.
You guys mentioned him and Randy. The way him and Randy fought was supposed to be how him and Cross fought. Because that match between Karrion Kross and Keith Lee was lackluster and very underwhelming.
It's like the build up. It's like, because you would have used this as an example. Like when you make plans with a girl and then you smash and it's not the smash you want it to be. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
That's what it is. But it also comes away because they don't have house shows. This was their first time. They don't have chemistry together in the ring yet. They haven't built that up.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And I also don't know when in the match Cross got injured.
Tried to think about when because I would have thought Lee would have got injured, but he just was selling it. But I couldn't remember when he got injured.
So that makes why the match wasn't what it should have been, because maybe somewhere in when they were supposed to, maybe when Keith Lee's cutoff happened or whatever, he was giving him heel heat. That's when the match was supposed to go up, because we all know the psychology of a wrestling match is up and down. So when they were supposed to go up in the psychology of the wrestling match, maybe that's when Cross got injured.
Yeah, because it was very flatline at the end.
Yeah,
it was just
so
like,
I don't.
Where are we going?
I don't know, but NXT, because you talked about Cross had to give up the title.
He did, and now we have coming up probably the match of 2020 happening in front of our eyes. The first ever 60-minute Iron Man fatal four-way for the NXT title, which you have Adam Cole, who was the longest reigning NXT champion. You have the first Triple Crown, Johnny Gargano.
Johnny Wrestling. Let's step that up. Johnny Takeover.
Johnny Takeover. And then
Mr. Takeover.
The return of Tommaso Ciampa. And then last but not least, who I think should win it personally, you have the former NXT champion, Finn Balor.
He's an NXT legend.
He really is, though.
Yeah. He really is like an NXT legend.
Joe Shinsuke, NXT legend.
Like, honestly speaking, when TakeOver happened this past weekend, I had to think about TakeOver Brooklyn, the first one, because I had watched the timeline with Sasha and Bailey. Yeah. And just thinking about TakeOver Brooklyn, the very first one, where you have Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor in a ladder match for the NXT title, it was just like, that happened. I was there for that. That was historic.
Bro,
like, you don't get any better than that.
Finn gets called up, instantly put into the title picture. Like, Finn is that guy. Also, one of the best things I like about this match is the optics of this match. All the guys are about the same size. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to style, they all can work each other because they've all worked each other before on the independent team. Johnny has fought Tommaso Ciampa like 300 times, maybe
80,000 times.
Him and Adam Cole.
Finn, Cole has been all of them before. Like, this match
is their Armageddon. It's their Hell in a Cell Armageddon.
It's their gumbo.
This is their Armageddon Hell in a Cell.
Huh?
I said this is their Armageddon Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, because it's the best 4 people currently on the NXT roster who all have long history of being in NXT.
Not only that, with the title. And honestly, first of all, shout out to William Regal, who's the Triple G of all fucking time. Like, I don't care what anyone, he's a real man's man. I don't care what anyone says. But for William Regal to come out and the announcement when it was made, I did one of these, like, wait, what? Like 60 minutes? Like, do you understand? We've all complained about how an Iron Man match, we have no type of like attention span for that shit. But they picked 4 guys that will keep you entertained for the 60 minutes. Like, it'll get to the point where you may end up with 60 minutes and no winner yet. And you may go to overtime. Like, that's a strong possibility too.
I mean, I ain't gonna front. Some people complain about, I never seen a bad Iron Man match in WWE. Like,
that's it.
Which one?
When?
I just never believe like all are great. You know, like, it's definitely like.
But he said bad.
I never seen a bad one.
Not bad, but
There's never been. The only one people argue nowadays is the Brett versus Shawn.
I actually don't mind that one.
And the reason why people complain about that was because it was a little slow.
Yeah.
But the story they were telling was that they were evenly matched.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like you forget, shout out to Brock and Angle. 60-man Iron Man match on SmackDown.
Oh, Brock and Angle is one of my favorites.
Come on,
actually.
B. Come on. Like, I can list go on. Shawn Michaels versus the list go on. Iron Man matches, WWE, they know how to put it on. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's been instant classics. All the ones I see, like, this is classic. I always pick them out.
But you know the funny part though, I feel like we live like the era and the attention span that we all have. I feel like NXT is the only one right now that can do it right. Like if WWE like in a pay-per-view hit me with we gotta do a 60-man Iron Man match, I'm gonna be like,
I'll roll my eyes because
I got that
like
ass?
it's like but NXT every time they have to put a marathon matches, they didn't put it on.
Really, any stipulations they have, like they are, I think, the kings and queens of ladder matches in recent years.
Yeah.
Actually, Sir Wilkins, I wanted to tell you this because when I watched NXT this past week, where they had Dakota Kai and your girl Raquel versus Rhea and Io, Raquel Gonzalez gives me China vibes like no one's business, and it's the weirdest thing for me. Like I'm just like, she's like, I really wish she'd just move away from Dakota Kai and do her own thing. And
they're working on that right now.
No, I know that, but like when I saw her this week too, and then she did the pin, like I was just like, you are really the true superstar in this whole match.
Yes, I know how to scout. I know how to scout.
You're not scouting. Like,
hold on. Everybody that I always say like, yo, they're next, or I fucking love them.
Who's next?
Raquel Gonzalez.
Who else?
And I, y'all be shitting on my opinion because I talk about Bianca Belair.
No, and you shitted on Bianca because you said she was too green. She was this. She was that. You definitely said some shit about Bianca in the beginning.
And where is she? And where did they put her? They put her on main event because they felt she wasn't ready yet.
And then she was just this past week on Raw.
Exactly. She just got back on Raw.
Teaching what I need her.
But again, you have to understand
girls how to clap their hands.
You have to understand there is no house shows for you to get the kinks out. So the main event is their house shows.
No,
so they gotta do that.
I'm not saying that, but that was the reason why. That's the reason why she was on main event, is to work on her. I'll move a little bit. Bianca Belair is a superstar. We all know that.
Yes.
Because she's a physical specimen.
Yeah.
But once she gets the kinks out of her in-ring skills, she's off to the moon. She's in my opinion, if she had Sasha's moves, she'd be bigger than Sasha. Point blank.
She's not as technical because she's more, I feel like she's a grounder. She's not as technical as Sasha.
Sasha's ability, she'll be bigger than Sasha. Point blank. Shout out to Mark Haven for picking her up.
Thank you, Mark. You know, we have a roller coaster relationship, you know, but you know, we still love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Anything else this week in wrestling?
Nope.
Real quick.
Nope.
Before because AEW
Cody, the Dark Order.
First of all, now everybody knows I ain't too big on AEW shit, but I love me some Dark Order. Boy, do I love the Dark Order.
That's because it gives you Undertaker ministry vibes with the splash of like Undertaker corporate ministry.
No, it's like that transition of when he was gathering people for the ministry, and then he went and turned it into a corporate ministry. Like it's in
but
that
you gotta
in-between.
watch it. Like if you really want more depth, like if you want more depth with their character, watch the Being Elite because they have a whole like segment where it was just hilarious, where like they show their personality more. So what I realized by AEW is they doing stuff a little bit different. They realize YouTube is their bread and butter. This is when you get to really see their characters really flourish. You know.
But see, the thing is, should it be just on YouTube?
Listen, they're doing something different. Again, they're small. They're a company just starting out. Listen, it works for them. Like that's why I said.
But does it? Because when you watch, like when you have a fan like you, where you'll definitely look on the YouTube, the Being the Elite, but then you have the fan that will literally just watch Dynamite. They won't even do in my opinion, I feel like AEW Dark is sometimes better than Dynamite.
But you have to understand, it's just like with certain WWE fans. They're not gonna watch the main event. They're not gonna watch Talking Smack and all these other shows. They literally watch Raw and SmackDown. They go on the network and watch their favorite pay-per-views, and that's it. So,
but to be fair, I watched that Raw talk only because of the Big E shit on Talking Smack. And Keith Lee was going to be on Talking
keyword
Raw.
you did that, but
no, but this is our platform. We are talking about our opinion, so I'm only going to tell you my experience, which is why the YouTube thing for AEW doesn't work for me. So when I watch Dynamite and I try, I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck is going on here?
What did you guys think about Triple H's comments about AEW?
What was his comments? What did Tripp say?
So he was on the Bill Simmons podcast. I have my beef with Bill Simmons, by the way, but that's because I'm a Joe Budden's fan. But that's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
So he was asked on the Bill Simmons on the podcast about the first time in nearly 20 years and having challenges of the new generations of fans and also having competition for the first time in 20 years.
Is it really competition? Okay.
So Triple H goes, competition is good. It keeps things fresh, going strong. I'm not going to belittle anybody's anything, but when you look back at the track record of a company that can shift, pivot, and move, it might take time. It doesn't happen on a Thursday, if you know what I'm saying. It takes time and effort as there's a lot of pieces to move. But we're looking at a company that has recreated itself over and over again and stayed relevant to the next wave coming in. The strength of this company, talking about NXT, WWE, is being able to withstand the ebbs and flows of the business. People talk about hard work. Paul continued, Paul Levesque, aka Triple H.
Tripp said,
I've never seen anyone outwork Vince McMahon. God bless him. He's worn out a lot of people. Trust me. It's what we do, and I put my money on this. People ask me all the time if I ever contemplated leaving during the Monday Night Wars, and I always told them, I've been there, and I've been there. Once I saw and met Vince and his passion for his company, there's just no way I would have ever left. Right. The way he can pick up, shift, and pivot and do whatever it takes, it's really awe-inspiring.
Virgo shit.
So this is what we talked about, building stars. I would love your opinion on this, guys. Hold on for a second. Simmons went on to mention how stacked the roster was in the late 90s and early 2000s, but having so many huge stars at the same time battling for the top guys to be the top guy. And what the challenges are building new stars for this generation. As far as building new stars, we just continue to do what we do. You continue to put your talent out there and pulse out there. Again, it doesn't happen overnight. You mentioned the late 90s and amazing talent being there, but you had gone back just a couple of years prior to that and moved the top couple of guys, you would be thinking this company has nothing. You flip forward, then you have The Rock, Stone Cold, and a bunch of other stuff, and he continues and stuff of that nature. So what I want to ask is, do you think AEW is actually real competition?
No.
Or will ever be competition?
When they become a global running company, yes.
Mr.
Until
Black?
then, no.
Anything is competition because you don't dominate the whole market share no more.
I feel like, and we talked about this when AEW first started, I feel like AEW definitely competes more with like the indies and like a ROH or like an MLW or like, and it's not to say that they're, lesser than that, but I'm just saying, like for me, I look at it on a business sense. Like granted, the owner is a billionaire, but the company is not a $1 billion company. So when you're on that level, it's a little hard to compare, like, and be like, oh, your competition. Because I don't, and they offer, and yes, it's wrestling, but they offer two different point of views of wrestling.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I get it, but it's also this is how I see it too. It's just like, regardless of what it is, though, it's still taking market share. Now people have alternatives to go to. Like I can still be on TV on TNT every Wednesday. I'm gonna go AEW. They're gonna pay me a certain amount of money. Cool, but WWE just had that cachet. Basically, It's basically if dang. It's basically you have a chance to basically you have a chance to work on Vice. Shout out to Jesus and Mero. They was on Vice, right? And if there was no other channels around, they'll be stick to Vice. Now they realize there's other cable premium channels where they could curse, do whatever they want, and have big opportunity. They will go there. Now in WWE's situation, in WAW, it's still a place for them to go. Compared to now, where people look like, all right, I can just go to Indies, rock it, make a few appearances in AEW, and I'll be good and I'm going to Impact. So the fear is gone. Nobody has that fear. Everybody's looking like, you can fire me when you want. I'm gonna get 90 days. What I'm gonna collect this check, bulk up, and appear on AEW. If not, go to Impact, do a few days in there. Either Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor. The landscape is definitely different. So you can't pigeonhole people to one place. Now people say that, all right, cool. You know, Cody literally is leaving AEW for a little bit to do like a project with Arrow, with a dude from Arrow. Possibly in WWE, he couldn't do that because they could possibly say no. And
well, he
look
had
at
the guy come on from Arrow on when he was in WWE though.
Yeah, but he could just.
So that's why he lost the title.
Yeah, and you know,
not even because it makes sense.
That too. And if you look at Johnny, you look at Johnny affiliate names. Like he left, he left WWE to do so much different things that he know that he couldn't do with WWE because the lack of time and opportunity.
But he came back though.
Right, because that's home.
No, it's home, but also that check is mean.
That check is wild.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's still home though. Compared to like a Moxley, he looking like WWE is not really my home. Like I could go anywhere else. Like my home's on the Indies, so it's kind of different when you kind of compare to other wrestlers. Now,
okay, my bad. One of the things is you're right, but I guess we got to go soon. But this is competition. And it's once again what my brother said, it's market share. They took a piece of the market that WWE doesn't have anymore. So it is competition. Yes, Samsung doesn't own as much competition as Apple does, but Samsung still has a piece of the market share.
A lot of it too. And people forget Samsung make parts for Apple and they get paid for every iPhone that's sold.
Yeah. So that's an issue. You know what I mean? It's just that's just what it is.
Wow, and I'm still stuck on Cody losing that title because he doing shit with that Arrow dude. I'm on that.
Well, listen, Cody.
Because that doesn't even. Because now that makes sense. Because I was just like, why did it so abruptly on a random ass Dynamite? That didn't make any sense.
But the thing is, y'all. I love Cody.
Don't get me wrong. I like Cody.
No, but we know what Cody's doing, bro. Cody is trying to get himself popping using the company, and I ain't mad at it.
But they don't. My issue will always be if you're gonna use it to your advantage, by all means, do you, boo boo. But do not sit here and spread the propaganda of you sitting here saying we are creating opportunities for other people, and you basically it's like when you give the baby the bottle, but then you snatch it and you like, no, you can't have that.
That's Cody doing Cody things.
Wait. You can't completely shit on Cody on that because he is given opportunities.
But then he makes. Then when you get the opportunity, then what happens? Or when you have the opportunity, like Scorpio fucking Sky, that's been in the company from day one, and then nothing happens. Then
but you never know. He could take the title off of Brody Lee. Like I said before, give it time. At the end of the day, Drew McIntyre was not Drew McIntyre 2 years ago. Simple as that. And Cody was not Cody 2 years ago. Like, you got to give people time. At the end of the day, he had a good run as champion, and now him to lose in devastating fashion.
Who had a good run?
Cody, like he put on good, like he put okay to good matches. It's like a superhero, right? The superhero been winning. He been beating all the bad guys. Matter of fact, let me bring back to Power Rangers. The Power Rangers, they was beating up dudes left to right episodes. Once the Green Ranger came around, weeks straight, they was getting dominated by the Green Ranger. Weeks straight. Sun went to the Megazord, beat them up. He got big, beat them up. At the end of the day, he presented a good story where his whole family went down with him. That alone is a good cliffhanger to whenever he comes back, you see like it don't even have to be for a title no more. That title is just something extra. This would be two men going at it just for pride. That alone is a great story.
But the thing is, I want to go back. That's a good point. But I also want to go back to the opportunities that he does give. We can say what we want to say. The guy gets jobbed out. So we're talking about Pineapple Pete, right? He was there. He didn't win anything. But you know what just happened to him? His price went up.
Yep.
WWE wouldn't have him on TV.
Yep. Shout out to Warhorse.
His Warhorse. His price went up. Because now, when my phone rings, and for Pineapple Pete especially, when you ring and say, hey, I want you to come through, you have become just a regular guy on the card to a borderline draw now.
So then, so let me question you. So then when they had Leon Ruff on those weeks, before citing him,
yeah,
is that the same thing?
No.
How?
Because he didn't get mic work. He didn't get real interaction. He was put into the ring.
So then better question, did his value go up though?
Of course it did. Everybody's value goes up. Okay. Everybody's value goes up. But his value didn't go up as much as Pineapple Pete.
Yeah.
But value still went up regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, we're talking about Cody. About giving those people a chance who probably wouldn't be on WWE. That's what I'm saying.
We're gonna do like Sean Kingston.
Sean Kingston.
What's his dude's name?
Beautiful girl.
Kingston. What is his name? I can't remember his name.
Who are you talking about?
Kingston.
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston, right? Sorry.
This nigga said.
I do like Eddie Kingston, right? He's still gonna do indie dates. His price went up.
But see, once again, those things depend on the type of contract that people sign. Because some people are exclusive and some people aren't. So it just depends on the contract.
Yeah, of course, everybody gets. But the thing about it, you get national coverage. The thing you get
national coverage if you job or not, I guess.
But the thing is, though, you get introduced. You're put on a flyer. You're talked about. Most of the people that do go on WWE is just experience, which is great. But at the same time, I'm getting promoted to be in this match.
Yeah.
People can go back.
It depends on what what essentially you're looking for at that time period. Because you'll have extras that you see all the people like Ciampa, like Lee, like you have all these people that were extras back in the day that you didn't even think of.
Yeah.
Or you didn't know. And now they're on a different
level. But that was different. You know why?
I'm just bringing it up. I'm not saying that it's not different or it is different. I'm just saying.
Shout out to bringing it up because it's completely different.
It's completely different. Like
but I can still have an example of something that is different because my thing is that what works for them is going to work for them regardless. And if they're going to be competition, great. It's going to keep WWE on their toes, great. Is it a win for wrestling fans? Yes, great. Yeah. But what we're not going to do is not sit here, and my issue with them is going to be like, you have this talent and you want to promote a certain montage, and that's not always the case. Because to me, that's false advertising. Just a smidge.
I understand though, but listen, I want to ask everyone the question: how y'all feel about the people? Because like Stan put it out that this is why I don't watch AEW for the mimosa match. Honestly,
we're wasting all that mimosas.
Of course, that's a waste of money. Y'all got money.
It's a waste of liquor. Like the fuck.
Honestly, how I feel about the whole mimosa match, I feel this way. Yo, WWE had some stupid matches back in the day. They had some stupid stuff. To this day, do some stupidness, but yet it gonna work or not work. One prime example: It was cheeseburger versus hot dog. That match was a banger. You remember that match? We went to the Bronx. Yeah. That match was a banger. People say, "Oh, that was stupid." No, wrestling is much to be.
People
funny.
were saying it's stupid because of the gimmick, not because of the match.
Yeah, but the match was a banger. It was a banger. You know, the time that we went to another wrestling event, it was a tables. No. It was a door, ladders, and chair match. Man, that was a good match. You know, like I just want people to give stuff chances in wrestling just because it's not AEW like WWE brand. People get WWE such a pass for certain stuff.
But it's the same reverse because
of course.
It's the same, and that was what I had put on. Shout outs to Talking Champions. I had put it on Shantice's post when she posted about it, and I was just like, the same people that would sit here and dog shit WWE for doing some wild shit. It's the same people that will praise a fucking Mimosa Mayhem match. And it's like, hold up.
And vice versa. They'll crap on the Mimosa match and then praise WWE for doing something. Come on. Like, all I'm saying is this. Like, I get what everyone's saying. Everybody has their initial opinion, but that's just life in general. Because some people thought the Thunderdome was going to be trash. Some people thought that the NBA playing the bubble is stupid and trash.
It is probably the best way to have sports during a pandemic. Side note.
But knowing people, they want it a certain type of way. You know, once you change something, they complain. Like, and this is why shout out to Barry Corbin. People said, Barry Corbin, how dare he say something like that? Someone said, I'm not gonna mention his name. He said, "Oh, it's coming from a coddled WWE superstar." I'm looking like, this is exactly what he be talking about. Because all you looking at him as a WWE superstar, but not seeing the greater picture, like that could play my everything.
It'll be what it is. You can't please everybody.
Listen, it is what it is. I'm gonna watch this Mimosa match.
Facts.
Not gonna lie to you.
But we're gonna have mimosas doing it.
No, but
yes, okay. I am. Me and Mr. Blackheart, because I found out this weekend he's bad and bougie.
Yeah, I love champagne.
He like wine. He bad and bougie.
I love wine. I'm gonna bring like what kind of orange you like? Pulp or no pulp? Matter of fact, I gotta make in general.
I don't.
Pulp.
I can do either or just because, and I don't like people that choose no pulp but then eat oranges. Because that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, fact. So I bring both. You want Tropicana or Minute Maid?
Definitely Tropicana, please.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you. Well, all right. This has been fun. Next week, we will be back in the studio. So somebody doesn't have furniture being delivered, and that's why we via at home. But guys, any last things? This weekend is Payback. I only know 3 matches that's happening. The tag match, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Yeah. And triple threat. It's a no holds bar. I don't know with Bray, Braun, and Roman. Is Roman getting the title back? Last question.
No. This is why they made a triple threat anywhere it falls match. So Braun could, like a whole nose bar. Because Braun could take Braun could afford to lose, or something might happen that everybody get knocked out. You don't know. So.
Well, we will be back next week to say what actually did happen in our opinions and our thoughts and concerns. But as always, I'm Janelle from HR here with Star Records and Mr. Black. Once again, thank you to Trisha Adora for joining us on our interview side of this episode. It was awesome speaking to her and, getting her thoughts on the current state of wrestling. So make sure to tune in for that in the beginning of the episode. But anyway, you can find this. Now we're on Twitch. So that's a new thing. You can find us on Twitch. Bright and on your flat screen TVs on I have Roku, so I think I'm gonna download Twitch now. But other than that,
you don't catch either one of my brothers playing video games. Let me know what games we might get into that. Street of Rage 4. That's gonna be interesting. I should cop that. So yeah, and make sure that the Mr. Black show is dropping tomorrow. Check that out.
On the show this week.
My son Tone Butter. Like he's like a black artist, and and like it's a real good interview. He talks about his home life. He talks about being married, black love, importance of pouring back into the youth. It's gonna be a very good interview. Just like the shout out to my previous guest, Pastor Stephen Hutchinson. Everybody liked that.
He was cute.
Like that's where like low key, like if you watch the episode, I be saying that's my low key like my dad, because a lot of my styles, how I carry myself, I got it from him. So please check out the previous episode. And yeah,
Well, cheap plug for the Mr. Black Show, but make sure to tune into that. Amongst all the new other episodes in Cats and Dogs recorded episode this week, Your Sports, all under the Drama Tears Network. So make sure to tune in for that. But as always, once again, I'm Janelle from HR here with Sir Ruckers and Mr. Black. Hashtag Black Excellence. Hashtag we out.
I was over, got the hands in motion. If you go with rolling, no need to focus. Traveling states and over oceans. You gotta wait till your coast chosen. Trying to have lines outside the show like Harry Potter releases at Barnes and Noble.